Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hakoreja Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Snowpiercer season number 2, episode number 3, which is titled The Great Odyssey. And Odyssey is a long voyage, which relates to what Melanie is going to do by the end of this episode. So episode number 3 opens with Wilfred. He's waking up. He's like, you know what? I have so much knowledge in my head, and what am I supposed to do with all of this knowledge when humanity is facing extinction and all of that stuff? And this episode continued to show that Wilfred wants control. He loves being in power, and he'll probably end up doing anything to maintain that power, even if it means stopping the plan for humanity to start a life outside of the trade. So he goes to the microphone. He's like, "Good morning, good morning, passengers of Big Alice," and Alex is looking at Wilfred, which basically means that it's something that he, I guess, does every morning. And over the communications system, he's like, Wilfred is like, you know what? One of these days, we are going to get back control over Snowpiercer because Snowpiercer is rightfully ours. However, until that happens, we need to continue to make sacrifices, and no one has made a sacrifice of the level that Icy Bob has made. So we get a scene where Wilfred is accompanying Icy Bob to the science lab, and Icy Bob is being tested on. And yeah, you can tell that Wilfred has something planned, and he's going to use Icy Bob in order to accomplish whatever he's thinking of, which, I mean, basically, considering who Wilfred is, it's probably going to be something against Leighton and Melanie. And then we cut to Melanie, and she's with Ben, and yeah, it's time for her to leave the train. She's like, you know what, the Rocky Mountains are coming near. It's time for me to like go outside, but I don't want to go outside because I just found Alex, and I want to spend time with her. That's something that a mother shouldn't do. And Ben is like, you know what, with Mother Earth coming back to life, what you're doing is especially what a mother should do in order to ensure survival of the rest of humankind. So he gives a pep talk to Melanie, and I do like these two as a couple. Then we cut to Alex and Wilfred, and both of them are having breakfast. It's toast, baby tomatoes, and eggs. And Alex is like, you know what? The people in Big Alice have started to smell out the eggs that we have, and they are hungry. And Wilfred is like, you know what? They need to continue to be hungry because that will drive more passion in them. And he's like, you know what, Alex, I need you to be happy because Melanie is going to be off the train soon, and that gives us the perfect opportunity to go in and take control of the Snowpiercer and deal with Leighton. And with Melanie gone, dealing with Leighton is going to be very easy. Then we cut to the Snowpiercer, and we see that Leighton, Ben, Harvey, Melanie, and Ruth are there, and they're talking to Big Alice. Again, the train has come near to the Rocky Mountains, and they have to go a different route from their usual Snowpiercer route. And that route is dangerous. Big Alice just came from here, and even though the route is okay, due to Snowpiercer's length and the limited power that it has, and because it's now permanently attached to Big Alice, there's probably going to be a problem when it comes to traveling across the Rocky Mountain track. But yeah, Melanie has a plan. Everyone has a plan, and they're like, you know what? We can't give up. We have to figure out something to do, and of course they need parts. And Melanie is like, Root, I have a list of supplies that I need you to take to Wilfred. And Root is like, you know what? I'll do it. And as Root is walking away, Melanie tells Leighton to never lie to Root because we know that in the previous season, Melanie lied to Root about being Wilfred when Wilfred wasn't even on the train. And Melanie's like, if you keep Root by your side, then Root is a straight arrow that's going to be useful to you. So let's see what happens to Root when she ends up getting closer to Wilfred. Then we cut to Bess, and Bess has been sleeping in basically her office. And Roche is like, Bess, what are you doing here? And Bess is like, I live here now, boss, because as you know, I broke up with my girlfriend Jinju. And talking about Jinju, where is she? And Roche is like, you know what? You are now a trained detective. I'm sure that Leighton can find you some good accommodation and all of that stuff. And Bess is like, you know what? I have other things to worry about, and I still need to figure out who ended up attacking Light. So let's go. So Melanie, Leighton, and Ruth are at the border, and the door opens, and we see Wilfred sitting on this throne chair. Which, I mean, again, we know that Wilfred is someone who is a fan of dramatics. He considers himself the king, and he reads Melanie's Melanie's request for supplies, and he's like, you know what, Melanie, you need what? You need batteries. I won't be able to give them to you, and all of that stuff. And Melanie's like, you have a whole lot of stuff, and I need those batteries and other supplies to survive outside and collect while I'm collecting data at the research center. And Leighton ends up asking Wilfred for parts to repair the Snowpiercer, and Leighton is like, you know what, we'll make it worth your time, and we can trade food for supplies. And of course, we know that Kevin in the previous episode ended up telling. In the previous episode, yeah, it was episode 2. Kevin ended up telling Leighton about how the people on Big Alice are hungry. So of course, Leighton understands that if he ends up trading food for supplies, then Wilfred will have to go for it. And Wilfred doesn't like being played because, of course, he's the one who wants to maintain control, and he doesn't appreciate Leighton trying to take the control away from him. So anyway, Melanie ends up going into Big Alice, and apparently they have 27 cars that have a whole lot of repair supplies and other equipment. And Melanie is happy to know about that because they can use all of this repairing equipment to, of course, repair the Snowpiercer. And Wilfred ends up making fun of Melanie, and he's like, Melanie, I appreciate you trying to do or whatever you've thought of in order to ensure the survival of humanity, but you'll probably end up going to die. And Alex comes in, and Alex is like, Wilfred, you can leave us. I'm going to prepare Melanie. I'm going to give her the equipment that she's asked for. And Wilfred walks off, and this is where Melanie and Alex start connecting. And Alex is like, so you're leaving me again. You left me before. Now you're leaving me again. And this is a choice now. And Melanie is like, yep, I'm choosing to leave you again, Alex, but I'm doing this for your survival because I need you to survive. I need you to be able to live on Earth that won't be killing you and all of that stuff. And I really like this scene because Alex and Melanie ended up bonding, and I'm okay with these two mother-daughter bonding together. While that's happening, Leighton ends up going to meet Josie, and turns out that Josie knows everything. And Josie is like, Leighton, you do understand that it was Melanie who did this to me, right? And Leighton is like, but I had to do it. I had to make a deal with Melanie, and now I have to go and fight Mr. Wilfred. And Josie basically tells Leighton that revolutionaries don't make the best politicians. So you can tell that that Josie has issues with Melanie. So it will be very interesting to see if she ends up siding with Wilfred or if she ends up going against Leighton too, as well as Wilfred. Let's see what happens. Then we get to see Pike with the head of the sanitation department, and the head of the sanitation department is like, hey, Pike, you told me that you would be bringing weed. And Pike is like, yeah, the trade has been restricted. And the head is like, you know what, Pike, then I don't need you up here. Go away. You're a person from the tail. Go stay in the tail. Then we get to the tail, and this is where Leighton, Roche, and Beth end up seeing the injury that was inflicted on Lights, and yeah, it's three fingers, the W of Wilfred, and Beth is like, we need to get to the bottom of this. The tailies can continue living like this. There's prodigious uptrain. We have to figure it out. And Leighton is like, Beth, I leave it to you. Who do you think it could be? And Beth is like, you know what? The repair people. Who were they? The Breachmen. Yeah, the Breachmen are very loyal to Wilfred, so I guess we need to go there and interrogate a few of them. So Roche and Bess end up going to the Breachmen, the car that they're in, and apparently, according to Bess, they resemble firefighters, while Bess and Roche are cops. Yeah, again with the firefighters versus cop thing, and a whole lot, and yeah, I guess all of them are jacked up. And Bess is like, so did you guys attack Lights? And the Breachman is like, why would we need to do that? We didn't do anything. And also, this is where Bess and Roche ask where the Breachmen were when the war was going on in season 1. And the Breachman is like, you know what? We don't involve ourselves in any drama. We're just going to stay here. We're just going to take our time until Wilfred comes back. So yeah, you can tell that these people are loyal to Wilfred, and they probably end up going to do something down the line. Then it turns out that Alex has decided to take Melanie to see her bunk, and we get to see this blonde woman, and she's very worried that Alex brought Melanie in here, and Alex is like, you know what, don't tell Wilfred, but it is what it is. So I guess she's supposed to be Alex's bunk partner or bunkmate. I'm not sure. So we get to see Alex's bunk. It's very small. I actually thought that Wilfred would have her sleeping in nicer accommodations, but yeah. So Alex is into drawing. She has these sketches to decorate her bunk. She also uses string to track the course of the train, and it's similar to Melanie. And Alex is like, yeah, of course you and I are similar because we had the same teacher, which again, Wilfred. So this is where the two continue to bond, and Melanie ends up teaching Alex how to listen to the train. You place a hand on the train's walls and you listen to her vibrations, and Alex is very impressed by it. And it's time for Melanie to go, and Alex is like, yeah, I don't want you to leave, but it is what it is. Then we get a scene between Leighton and Ben, and Ben is like, Leighton, I need you to be cautious because when it comes to Wilfred, he's not like normal people. He's not angry over being jealous or sex or being intimate with someone. What he's jealous about is basically losing power, and you're someone who he sees as a threat. So be careful. He's already happy that Melanie is going to leave the train, so he's going to come for you next. And Leighton is like, you know what, Ben, don't worry. You and I will be picking back you and I will be picking Melanie back up in a month, and we'll handle Wilfred. And you know what, guys, I really hope that Melanie doesn't die. I want her to survive. How and now that I've said that, we go to the lab and we see that Icy Bob is still alive, and the scientists tell Mr. Wilfred that he was able to survive extremely harsh conditions for 54 minutes. And Wilfred is like, you know what, Icy Bob needs to be able to survive more. So continue with your experiments. And this is where I think that Wilfred plans to send Icy Bob after Melanie in order to kill Melanie or something. And that's why I'm like, you know what? I don't want Melanie to die. I want her to continue living. And I know that Alex is going to take the reins of the Snowpiercer. That's where I think the narrative is going. But again, I need Melanie to stay. So Wilfred comes in and he notices that Alex was feeling the train's vibrations, and Wilfred is like, so Melanie continues to do that, and Alex is like, yeah. And Wilfred is like, don't go sentimental on me now, Alex. And Alex is like, no, I'm not being sentimental. I know what we're supposed to do. I know, and I'm okay with Melanie leaving the train, which we all know that it's a lie. So it's time for the Snowpiercer to start moving on the Rocky Mountain track, and they need to come up with a plan because Snowpiercer doesn't necessarily have enough power to successfully go or complete the track. And Wilfred is like, you know what, we are just handle it, just do what you want, but what you guys think is okay. And Wilfred is basically stepping away. He just wants to create drama between Alex and Melanie because he ended up giving the controls of Big Alice to Alex. It's confusing when I speak. But yeah, so Melanie is like, you know what, we can give Snowpiercer the required power if we extract the power from the rest of the carriages. And she asks Root to tell the passengers to brace, and they have like half an hour before they need the power. So Root needs to work quickly. And while that's happening, Leighton decides to go and stay with Josie, and he ends up meeting Zara. And Zara is like, Leighton, where are you going? Leighton's like, I need to go to Josie. She'll be alone. The power is going to go off. And Zara understands that. And yeah, we get a scene where Josie is like, you know what, Leighton, I need to see my face. I need to see the damage that ended up happening to me. And Leighton takes off her bandages and he hands her a mirror, and she looks at herself. And I think that, yeah, Josie probably going to meet those scientists from Big Alice because I guess they're going to use that goop or gel in order to heal her. So this is where Wilfred does step in. Wilfred is like, you know what? All of the power is in Alex's hands now, and Alex needs to be very careful because if she ends up increasing too much speed or decreasing too much speed, then Snowpiercer will be derailed, and the people on Snowpiercer will die. And he's just putting pressure on Alex, and that indirectly puts pressure on Melanie. And while that's happening, everyone is in the night car, and Audrey is losing it. She's starting to crack. And I still think that Audrey is going to try to harm Wilfred somehow. And this is a scene that I really like, and because in this scene we saw the powers going off from each car one by one. It was a very pretty scene. And yeah, Wilfred is like, okay, Alex, what are you going to do? Will you be able to handle this assignment? Or and also Alex is hesitant because she doesn't want Melanie to leave. And if Alex doesn't successfully accomplish this mission, then Melanie will lose her window to exit the train, and they'll have to wait, I guess, another year for her to exit. And yeah, Wilfred is just teasing Alex's hesitation, but again, Melanie comes in and Melanie is like, Alex, don't listen to him. I trust you. I know that you will do the right thing. And Alex does the right thing, and Snowpiercer ends up successfully completing the Rocky Mountain track. And this is where Wilfred is like, Alex, look at me. And Alex does look at him, and you can see a single tear falling from her eyes. And Wilfred is like, that's the only tear I'll allow. And Alex is like, you know what, Wilfred? This is the only tear you'll get. And she decides to go and meet Melanie. And Wilfred ends up telling Jupiter to stop Alex. And Alex is like, Jupiter, stand down. And Wilfred is like, okay, Alex, I allowed Melanie to spoil you. And Jupiter, yeah, go say goodbye to your mom. So everyone is in the night car, and this is where we get to see Pastor Logan. And Pastor Logan is worried about Beth, and he ends up giving her, I guess he ends up giving her a religious pendant or something. And Beth is like, oh, okay, I'll see what it can do for me. And then we get a scene between Layton and Josie, and Josie is like, Layton, I really think that you are losing control of the passengers. You haven't given them what you promised them. And Layton is like, Josie, I'm trying. And we get to see that Josie was able to keep one of her hands safe, and she's like, I did it because I only needed one fist. And yeah, you can tell that Josie has her own agendas, and I really think that she isn't into Layton anymore. She's a Taily first, and I think that she's going to stand up to Layton or something. It's interesting drama. So let's see what happens. Again, Melanie ends up saying goodbye to Ben, and she walks away. And while Root, Melanie, and Layton are making their way to Big Alice, Melanie ends up asking Layton about his priorities, and Layton is like, yep, I understand my priorities. I know that the data is the number one priority, and I need to keep data safe from Wilfred, even if it means Melanie might end up dying. So moving forward, Layton ends up asking Pike to do a job for him. He's like, Pike, I need you to resume your trading connections with Big Alice. However, I'm going to tell you what you're supposed to trade in there. And Pike is like, okay, you can count on me. And while Root and Melanie are waiting for the door to Big Alice to open, Melanie is like, Root, I need you to promise me, I need you to take care of Alex. Can you do that for me? And Root is like, of course I can do that for you. I mean, these two ended up sharing a whole lot of history. They were very close, and my bad. I'm a fan of these two bonding together and repairing the relationship. So yeah, it's time for Melanie to leave, and Alex is the one who bids her goodbye, and they hug it out. And before Melanie leaves, she tells Alex that she has friends in Snowpiercer that she can trust, and she also tells that Wilfred is the one who's cruel. Wilfred wanted Alex to make a decision to kill a whole lot of people on Snowpiercer because he wanted that guilt to weigh Alex down, but that's Wilfred's cruelty. That doesn't reflect on who Alex is as a person. So Alex says goodbye to Melanie, and Melanie jumps off the train, and this is where the episode ends. I will be doing a written review of this for the Geek Theory. The link to the review will be down in the comment section below. I enjoyed this episode greatly. It was a very fast-paced episode, and of course I'm looking forward to what will happen next. Let me know what you thought, and until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later. Bye.